Excellent morning to you all. It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Broad. As always, I have the ladies with me. Alaja Akasha Zebere. How you doing?
Yeah, in the building.
I'm fine. What a weekend. I got home and found out my freezer stopped working.
Oh.
So it stays frozen for three days
Yeah.
when it's not working. And I didn't know. I've had it for 8 years. I have never had to do anything to it. And it's just worked well. And decided to go and
Pack up.
So I just didn't want to retire it because people were advising that it would be a waste. I should try and find if maybe it's a small problem. So we're working on it. But you can imagine where I was over at the weekend. It's not a funny place to be at all.
Those freezers actually last. The one you gave me, since that time, I'm still using it and it's still functional.
I bought it at the time I had my daughter, so they've been the same life and it's just been working.
I'm sure it will just be something, maybe refilling the
maybe
gas.
It's no, I have to change that compressor completely.
Anyways, how about you doing? How was your weekend?
It was a working one. Working weekend. And happy birthday to Temidire.
The YK's
grandson. Yes, it was 3 over the weekend.
Yeah.
And the drive to the party is not going to it wasn't funny. I told my children and they kept crying and wanted to go, but I couldn't have done it. I'll then be back and then be ready for school on Monday morning.
I didn't talk about. How was your weekend?
Weekend was very busy. On Saturday, usually around every of my birthday since I turned 30, I do I try to do a full body checkup. I didn't do last year because of COVID. And thank you. The ladies gifted me what they know I needed, which is let's go and check ourselves. So I spent the day on Saturday at the laboratory getting my full body check. Health is wealth. Take care of yourself. And I realized I have to start using my glasses. I have too much. Yes. I've had it since, but they're like, you're straining too much. There's too much pressure on your eye that you have to use it. See, unlike people that are using glasses to read, I don't need glasses. I need glasses to see. Yeah. So I have to wear it permanently.
Oh, wow.
And I'm waiting to
kind of blindness.
I'm waiting to receive the remaining results. But I'm grateful to God for life. And then yesterday the kids had fun. Let me just say the party. Auntie Annie knows how to do parties. My kids remembered. They said there was, we have to go. We remember there was cotton candy. There was hot dog. The children had fun.
Hiding up Biajulu, our actress, actor. This weekend you're on the set. Your location. God bless you.
I'll get there. Don't worry.
Your location. How was it?
It was okay. The acting was very good. It was really hectic, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
You're enjoying the story?
Yes, I'm enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the acting. I enjoy doing those sort of things. But yesterday I received a very bad news. My stepmother died.
Whoa.
Yeah, my dad had called me earlier in the morning and was like, she just woke up and she was screaming. Her back was hurting. Her back was hurting like this. She was on fire. So they had to use ice block water. Nothing worked. So they took her to the hospital. Thankfully, we have a hospital just opposite the house. They took her there. By the time they got there, her BP was over 200 and something.
Wow.
She was gasping for air, and they had to put the oxygen. And in 30 minutes, he just called me back and said she had passed. Give up the ghost. I don't know. She's been with my dad for a very long time. I know her. The kids know her. We're already thinking of what she wanted me to buy for her this Christmas or this year. And I was saying, okay, I'll try and get the kids to come. They haven't seen her in a long time. And I don't know how my dad is going to cope. Because, he just turned 70 in March.
Wow.
He needs somebody. I don't know. So I was really...
so sorry about that. Are you going to go see him?
Yes, I will. But I don't. I need to understand the arrangements.
But the Lord will give your family the It's painful when you lose a loved one. It's very painful. Well, last week, Friday, was the Director, People, Culture and Experience Operations, Kemi Shonobu's birthday. We missed it right, because she's one of our directors here at TVC. It's important that we greet her and acknowledge her birthday. Happy birthday to her. God bless her. Over the weekend, Kellogg's also launched, and I was there, myself and TT, and I think MM2 was also there, and it was a great outing. Funke Akindele is their brand ambassador, and it was great to know that Kellogg's is being made in Nigeria, and then wholly Nigeria, and is the exact same quality for those of us who are accustomed to the international brand, which is very crunchy and it gets soggy it doesn't get soggy easily. this was a really good brand, and I'm really happy that they're creating jobs, and hopefully they're bringing even more variants, and I'm really happy that Kellogg's is doing so much in Nigeria. You see, as some of us are looking for Plan B to leave, there are some people that are coming here and building companies here. I think we need to look within, you know, but I'm so happy that they're doing this. Okay, and last weekend was Max Live.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't there, we didn't go, but I know that was a great event. It was a great outing over the weekend. On Sunday, Max Live had a live event, and it was all COVID compliant. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with The Nation. Jonathan Okey's governors talks on national concerns. NLC forces cut of power supply. Showdown in Kaduna. Bank customers file 11.7 billion naira fraud complaints. Oyo PDP group snubs Arakwaja's peace move. CBN plans rice pyramid for Ekiti. And let's back troops to end insecurity, IBB pleads. Let's take the major headline in Nation. Go ahead, Nima.
So Jonathan, you know, speaking in Benin, you know, supported the stance that the southern governors did after their conference in Asaba. But then he faulted that, you know, the governors of the north are divided against the south. Everybody's speaking against, you know, lines and building margins between each other. He thinks that these are issues that are national and that they should even come together and agree on the way forward. You know, the southern governors giving that ultimatum to the president is something that the northern governors should also back. But, you know, they came out and then gave their own ultimatum separately. Things that we should have one voice.
And Toko, you have the story, no, the Kaduna story.
I do.
That was also
yes. So now the issues in Kaduna is between the NLC chairperson, the NLC president, Idris Waba, Ayuba Waba, and the governor of Kaduna State. So the governor of Kaduna State had tweeted that, you know, the stance of the NLC in the state were pro-opposition, and that it was an hypocritical stand. You know, they were kind of opposition in disguise. But the president of the NLC had called on all their affiliate groups, NUPENG, called on the one for the power to shut down. So you have queues now in filling stations in Kaduna State. Also, they shut down power, cut off. Wow. The transmission company shut down their power generation in the state, in that state over the weekend, causing total darkness, trying to force the governor of Kaduna State to reinstate the sacked workers that he had to sack. What worries me is that this difficulty that, you know, he is sorting out in the state, the way they consider unfit, is what all states are going through. Maybe they are just, you know, delaying. So I think they should be more objective to these conversations, and, you know, he too should be open to having that conversation and showing them the books.
All right, BC, you have the
right story, yes.
Yeah, ahead,
so
please.
The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria tomorrow will be launching the Ekiti State Rice Pyramid Project in Ado-Ekiti, the capital of the state. The state plans the production of over 1 million metric tons of rice in the next few years. They said they are doing this because they want to be able to meet international and both local and international demands of the product. They also have investors that have shown readiness to invest in planting and processing, and their promising is going to be very high standard and going to be stone-free. The government also assured the farmers that they will provide adequate security in the farms, and they will ensure that they make it attractive to youths in the state. So over 23 investors are ready. They have been given lands, allocated to lands to plant their rice, cocoa, palm oil, among other things to boost the economy.
Moving on now to the Punch. Asaba resolutions. Southern governors to meet Buhari after the France trip. Robbers loot Ogun warehouse, kill guard and attack policeman. Gumi meets Africa 37, insists on negotiation with bandits. Jonathan faults Southern Northern governors' separate meetings. National Assembly resumes division, greets minorities move against Buhari. Copter food drop in ACF accuses FG of conspiracy of shunning the probe. $1.24 billion spent on food imports despite Forex ban. And Envoys Postings Union alleges fraud as foreign ministry requests 8 billion naira. That's from Punch. Okay, let's start with I have the Gumi story, actually.
Go ahead.
Sheikh Gumi, speaking with the 37 students from Africa, he was trying to reiterate that he's appealing to the government to engage with the bandits so that bandits can abandon their ways. They are already showing signs that they're ready to have a conversation, and he thinks it's time for them to come together to address this issue. So, when he said it initially, it seemed premature. But I guess as things are going now, he's reminding the government that, listen, at this point, you need to negotiate because they are still Nigerians. And they have grievances. And instead of all just launching an offense, it's time for us to actually have a conversation with them. Maybe that can actually slow them down, stop them.
I'm just worried about the cost of the negotiations, considering that it's not all of them, that there are fractions within the bandits, and we might not have access to negotiate with everybody and bring them back in, and then we'll pay for that negotiation. And yet there are still other people that are there.
Just having, like, some of them are asking for basic things, like health.
It's not even about paying alone. You know, the factionalization of Boko Haram started with negotiations. While they were negotiating with one party, the other party broke off and started worse crimes. And, you know, I think they should just quickly sweep them together.
Okay, let's find that story.
The human interest story.
Human interest, go ahead,
yes,
please.
so a security guard at a warehouse in Ogun State has been killed. There was a gang of robbers that attacked and killed him and looted the warehouse. But then they ran away. And the police got wind of what was happening, and they had an altercation. It was a serious fight. The police was able to arrest one of the armed robbers, who is in custody right now. Investigations are ongoing, and they were able to get guns from them, vehicles. They had already stolen 2 vehicles from different places before they carried out that attack.
Yeah.
So I'll take the food story. So despite the fact that the president has said that we should import less food, there was even a ban placed on giving foreign exchange to people importing food into Nigeria. Milk was excluded, yet between September and March, the cost of importation of food has doubled. In the past 6 months, Nigeria spent $1.24 billion on importing food into Nigeria. This, even as between September and December, the amount spent monthly on importing food doubled. So it's as if we're saying on one side that we are boosting the economy, and yet a lot of money is still going into food importation. I was trying to find out what specifically we are importing more of, but they didn't have that breakdown in the story.
All right, the major headline, I was going to touch on that very quickly because the southern governors have said they're going to meet with the president, and I think they've spoken with the presidential spokesperson to get an appointment. And right now, the president is off to France for a meeting, but they did confirm that the southern governors will meet with the president when he gets back, and that they're going to present to him what their resolution was. However, Mark Ban has also said that I try to appeal to them. Listen, they understand the issues of insecurity in the southern part, but they are legal pastoralists who are doing their work, and those people shouldn't also be. This blanket ban shouldn't affect those who are doing their jobs legally. So these have been appealed by Bank Ban, and I think I even like the way Mieti Ala, their tone has really come down, and the way they're actually being very reasonable from what I'm seeing in the papers. But I just hope that they're able to get some kind of resolution. You're going to take one more story in front, or no. Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to move on to Vanguard. Insecurity military needs new weapons and training, says IBB. ACF worry over government silence on helicopter distributing weapons to bandits in Niger State. My husband lived a purpose-led life, says Reverend Sholula Adejobi. Igboho supporters DSS clash at Atauja's place. Tijaniya Sheikh affirmed Sanusi as leader in Nigeria. Oshodia Papa, I won't surrender to Hydra-headed gridlock, says Sanwo-Olu. All right, let's start with IBB. Who has that story?
Yes, so I took the story. So the former military president, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, has expressed concern over the insecurity. He he had an interview with BBC Hausa, and he's asked the federal government to equip the military with modern arms and training to adequately, fight the problem of insecurity. And when they asked him, do you often advise the president? He said he does. I actually advise him, but it's not something we are going to make noise about. So the advice is more, I tell him what I think is right, and then we expect him to carry it out. Now, he also said that it's very imperative that the citizens learn to support the soldiers, because we need peace and harmony. And he narrated how the civil war was fought for 3 years, where the citizens supported the government and the government was able to do what it was meant to do, and that the people need to rally around soldiers and, make them understand that this is your country as well. So everybody's fighting for one thing. We are all in this together. However, Afenifere Arewa Consultative Forum and the Christian Association of Nigeria agreed with him, but Ohaneze disagreed, saying that what we need is security, to change the security architecture and to restructure. That if we don't restructure, whether you fund them with arms or not, equipped arms or not, is not going to work.
Right. Okay, let's take
our vice president. I want to take our vice president. Okay. The vice president did a post on Facebook asking that the governors should stop waiting for the federal government.
Former vice president.
Our former vice president.
Okay, you said vice president.
Sorry. No, our former vice president. Former Vice President Abubakar Atiku mentioned in a Facebook post that instead of governors having private meetings and expecting the federal government to convene a unity forum, what he calls a national unity summit, that the governors should come together and put aside sentiments and party differences to bring up a unity summit where every Nigerian will be able to contribute towards the myriad of issues that are affecting us. I like what he defined. He said, I have repeatedly said I am a Nigerian, full stop. That's my identity. Now more than ever, we need to define what does it mean to be a Nigerian. A Nigerian is one who is committed to the idea of indivisibility of Nigeria and those invested in respecting, even if you disagree with the way things are being managed. Nigeria is one. That's what it's.
Let's take Sanwo-Olu for a minute.
Yes.
It seemed like he was responding to me. Myriad of problems. He called the Apapa Oshodi and the Badagry Expressway issues, the tank farms and all of that. He called it hydra-headed issues. Oh. So he said that, yes, people are aware that there's gridlock on Apapa Oshodi Expressway, but they're only aware of the containers. That people are not even taking into cognizance the tankers, and I agree with him. Because,
and you complain about tankers now?
Yes, the tankers are the major problem. They've been for the past few months. The containers, I think, because of the call-up system and all of the issues they have, they moved towards the Ijora side. But those on the Apapa Oshodi Expressway are usually the containers. And he said that these are people that is difficult for you to give an ultimatum control over to, because the moment you try it, NUPEN goes on strike, the DPR starts to call you and a lot of other issues. But that he's going to continue to implore them. They're not on the e-call-up. And so they do the packing on the Apapa.
So the long-term, let me add to that story. The long-term solution that he was also saying is that, as we said, Dangote's refinery is working. It's actually being done right now. And he says that he's building a refinery such that there are the pipes. Let me even quote. Dangote is building a refinery. He's saying that half of the things he can help us to distribute, half of the crude actually can be distributed via pipe. Not through trucks. So that will release the motorways. That's one. Secondly, they are also building the Lekki ports, which I was privileged to go and see over the weekend. I saw the part.
There's a lot of work. A lot of work.
Am I still in Nigeria? For a second, if you see that port, you feel like there's hope that Nigeria must not fall apart, because there's actually, and according to him, he said the Apapa port is currently having 4,000 MTUs. The Lekki port will have 18,000, meaning that it will take 4 times the vessel that currently passes Apapa now. Bigger vessels will drop things quicker. So listen, so that's a long-term, the mid to long-term, such that, yes, there's gridlock right now, but there are plans to actually elevate the sufferings in that area once these ports and refineries begin to work.
May I beg?
He also talked about the delay on construction on the Badagry Expressway, saying that taking and correct records as well of the bridges being built, the construction going on presently. But I would like to call him because he mentioned that area. Between Lasu and Ojo Barracks, there are there's a major construction going on. There are 2 interchange that has to blend into 5 lanes. I think what they need there is just proper traffic management. One in front of Lassie Gate and one in front of
we'll try. You know, the governor has been avoiding our show, so hopefully soon, if he can come on our show, I'd like him to even meet you, so I can tell him your issue. But
it's not harmony. What you don't realize is the fact that you can't have women that has built trust with the audience for 8 years, always speaking truth to power, and then you don't visit them.
Don't worry,
in your state.
See Governor Sanwo-Olu, he has more important people to see. You're going to see something in Vanguard.
No, okay, I just wanted to add, but
let's move on to the Daily Sun. Open grazing ban, others. Southern speakers back governors. Don't push us to join secessionists, Yoruba farmers, hunters tell federal government. Imo insecurity, arrest of my political allies, plot to implicate me, says Okorocha. Gunmen kill, the Daily Sun. Gunmen kill 4 policemen, priest 15 others. Petrol price to increase as PEF hikes transporters' margin. NDDC Ijo youth threatens to reenact Borno's revolution. Okay, which story are we taking there?
We could do the Ijo youths.
Right.
So Ijo youths from the 9 states of the Niger Delta region are threatening to reenact according to them, the 12 days revolution declared in 1966 by the Ijo hero, Major Isaac Jasper Adakaboro, to secede from Nigeria. They are saying that they are protesting against the continued neglect and deprivation of the region by the federal government. They are asking the federal government that he should constitute the substantive board of the NDDC and have a proper restructuring and true federalism in the country, and that's the only way they will not secede. So they said the Niger Delta has remained peaceful despite all the plight of the region, and they are asking that the federal government does right by Niger Delta. I think yesterday was the 53rd remembrance of this borough, and they had already given the president a 30-day ultimatum starting from the April 25th, and they are saying that the ultimatum still holds. And if the president doesn't do anything about it, they will see that revolution.
All right.
So the PEF.
Sorry. Nima, go ahead.
Okay, so the Petroleum Equalization Fund are looking at increasing their template from 3 naira 89 kobo to 9 naira 11 kobo. This will affect the transporters' margin of, transporting petroleum products. And they're saying that might just bring the increase that we are fearing.
I want to just add to that story because when they were asking for removal of subsidy or not, they said, don't even bother with subsidy. This PEF is what they should scrap. Open depots across the country and let people take from there, because what PEF means is that when you move petrol from Lagos to other states, there's a cost to the transportation. Yes. And for the price to remain the same in those states, they pay you a particular fund. What if they have depots, if the distribution channels are in all the states, you don't need to have to come here and then there's a payment difference. Let's have a more long-term approach towards solving this problem.
NNPC has depots across, or they stopped their land depots, inland depots for the ones across the water. And according to the governor of Lagos, 70% of the consumption of petroleum products imported in this country transported straight from Apapa to those places.
Please, I want to get
that's why I say
That's the Hydra.
We have to run.
Raya, please, 3 officers were shot dead in Delta State. Police station was razed. Yeah. There were 4 officers on duty, 3 of them shot dead. They burnt the station, burnt their motorcycles. Why are we doing this? It's the Anyocha local government area of Delta State. Also, 1 policeman was shot dead in a communal clash in Anambra State. But the one in Delta is the one I'm particular about, because people deliberately went to the police station at night and were shooting 2 a.m. We can't continue to do this. Who's causing this?
We have to run, unfortunately. I was going to take the Nigerian Tribune. There was a story about the World Bank. You have that story.
Yes, I have that story as well.
It's expensive region to send money to. Please,
I've been saying this thing since. Like, it is expensive to send money. I talk to these people. They are my investors. So, apparently, the World Bank is saying, was it World Bank? Yes, the World Bank speaking at the G20 is saying that Sub-Saharan Africa is the most expensive place to remit monies. And we have many people that have many migrants who want to send money back home. It costs about 8.2% for every $200. So all these incentives we are giving is not still comparable to what it should be to remit money in. And he's advising that there must be more there must be more conversation. Yes.
Today is World Hypertension Day, 17th year, and experts have warned that 76.2 million of Nigerians have hypertension. 1 in 3 adults, and mostly more women than men.
Wow.
And, because of COVID-19, they realized that the drugs, even the drugs to maintain the BP, has increased. So they are appealing to everyone. If you know that you have hypertension, and make sure you maintain it.
Right. That's all we can take on Front Page Review. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll discuss our hot topic for the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So some families reached out to us, complained that many of their awards have been posted from the NYSC to various states that are volatile. And they're very worried for the awards and their children, saying that it shouldn't be for their kids who live in certain fairly safe communities being posted to areas, some parts of the north. And they thought it was important for us to have this conversation. And I know that we did read the papers sometime where the NYSC actually did confirm that they would not send children to volatile communities. But on the contrary, some of us were actually know people who were posted to certain communities. And it's important to hear your thoughts and let our viewers call in to share their own experience. If anybody has received their call-up letters and gotten to states or places or communities where you don't feel safe about, you can call us on 081-270-53687. You can also call us on 091-390-7694. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your TVC so we can read your tweet. Now, we all know the essence of NYSC. And the objective is really to have that cross-pollination of cultures, languages, and way of life where we can learn from each other. And that culture has been part of us for many years. And many of us actually have gone through NYSC. But these times of insecurity, banditry, kidnapping going on, many families are worried that many of their children are being transferred to these areas. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think, I don't want to say do you think they have a reason to worry, because it's almost obvious. But in the sense of the real crux of what NYSC is about, shouldn't we find ways to ensure that our children are safe, even if they are posted to these communities?
I think that now more than ever, the ethos, what made them create NYSC, is more relevant than ever before, which is to bring unity of Nigerians. The NYSC core helps people interact and appreciate culture across board. However, everything is secondary to life. The primary concern of every government is to preserve the lives of its citizenry. NYSC core members are our prize. They are our jewel. They are prime. And sadly, where can we say is safe in this country enough to put them in? So the priority should be, one, keep these people safe and find other creative ways to engender unity. Because I know that the call is.
So would you say that we should put NYSC on hold for this season, or we should still do it and then maybe reallocate these children somewhere else? I don't know, but some people are saying they shouldn't even do NYSC at all. They should put it on hold for now.
In fact, that is it. Because I have a problem with the DG NYSC not proposing a stall in the postings for now, considering the reports that are coming, and you cannot protect the lives of these children. If a person is posted to most of the states, most of those states don't have airports. Airports are still the safest means to travel. They will have to land somewhere. Traveling between Abuja and Kaduna, traveling between Abuja and any other place up north is still a high risk. Anybody can be kidnapped, and we know the records coming every day. Imagine Katsina, somebody got posted to Katsina, and you know what has happened in Katsina now, and that the governors are still negotiating. In fact, the factions of banditry that they have in Katsina as a state, based on the reports that we have, is more than 10. It's per locality. And you cannot post somebody where you cannot even ascertain which faction you'll be negotiating with per time. The students in Kaduna have just been released, and it took the intervention of the National Assembly members, according to the reports, assisting in getting them out. We had parents, already protesting. In the midst of all of this, as a DG, you would sit and say, based on this, I am advising government, we should stop this. You don't have to earn your money until by posting people. You can earn your money by advising and saying, based on what I have seen, I am saying this because people's lives are now in my hands. Right. And do the right thing.
I personally think that the NYSC should be more sensitive to the climbs. A lot is happening when it comes to insecurity, and it would be unfair to just send out people's children normal, like everything is okay. Because being a parent who has kids, you would not want, see, it's even difficult to protect your own children in their own local schools, primary, secondary schools. We see what happens, they come in and they take them. Not to talk of you are in Lagos and maybe you have a child in Katsina or you have one in Borno. You understand the stress that the parents will have to go through. And a lot of people are actually lobbying to be posted very close to their parents. So why, instead of all this stress, why don't you sit down, go back to the drawing board and say, okay, let us even do the orientation camps online. We had that 3 weeks that we attend to them. A lot of things have gone digital now. So if we're still working analog based, we are sleeping on a bicycle, like I always say. So let's do that online. Then you choose where you want to work, go there, as long as we have people who are monitoring you, seeing that you are putting in the work. And all of for now, when everything calms down in the country, then we can continue our integration and all of that.
Let me check Ezekiel. Ezekiel, are you there? Hello, Ezekiel.
Good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. This is the first time I'm calling.
Welcome to the show, Ezekiel.
Thank you very much. My contribution to this particular topic is that what I've found out is that most Nigerians are not passionate about ourselves. Imagine if the DG asked his daughter or his son posted to Madugodi, would he allow that to happen? I think we need to see other people's children as our own, adopt them in our mind as our own. Then we'll be able to do the right thing.
Make better decisions.
There are so many service going across the country. You don't need anybody to tell you that you don't have to post anybody to any state as you speak.
Right now.
Exactly.
Sorry to chip this in. I traveled on train yesterday from Ibadan to Lagos. Mistakenly, I entered the old train, which they say that government paid for from Osun State. It took us we left Ibadan by 6 p.m. I got to Lagos by 3 a.m. this morning. Now, on that particular road, imagine that the train was stopping on the road and we're somewhere around Ondo State and we got kidnapped.
Oh, thank you, Ezekiel. Thank you for Ezekiel for that contribution. Now, going back to what Tokwe has said, which I think is crucial, is for that national cohesion, which is what NYSC was founded upon, how else do we reinforce that with these children that are graduating? Because, as you said, there are creative ways of doing these things. Yeah. But the truth is that we don't want to lose that essence, because more than ever,
we need it. This
time we need that unity.
Yes.
We need more people to see themselves as one. So how do we do that?
Okay, so Mariah, when it comes to changing the mindset of the people, because right now all we need is a mindset change where we see ourselves as Nigerians and not as a Yoruba, Edo, Bini, and Shekiri and whatever. Well, the first step is to ensure that people are aware. So you create awareness. You start by the right things. So you have priorities based on you. Before you take any decision, even as an adult, you understand your environment, you understand your peculiarities, you understand your problems, and then you make decisions that will match what you are facing. So you don't continue on a journey or on a path irrespective of what is happening around you. You'll be a fool to do that. So now that you see that because of insecurity, it will be unfair. Like the last caller said, empathy. When you put yourself in somebody's position, you will feel the pain of the person better than when you assume that this is just the right way to go. So the first step I would advise is to ensure that we start by eliminating a state of origin. in any of our forms. So you are a Nigerian. Everybody's in Nigeria. We can achieve that in our homes. We can achieve that in our different offices. We don't need to come to Katsina to serve to be able to know that I am the same with somebody from that place.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation and open our phone lines. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I think it's important to remind ourselves that really there really isn't anywhere that is safe in the country anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's a perception that, oh, I don't want my child to be posted to the north. Well, the truth is that the east, the southwest, the south, none of this is safe. We're having issues of violence in Ebonyi. We're having from Enugu, River State, Ogun State, Delta State, even within Lagos State. So pretty much nowhere across the country is safe anymore. So it's not about posting my child to a certain region. The question is, should we post children out of their families' custody at all in the first place? That's really the conversation. Should NYSC say, let's put things on hold until we find sanity? Or should we, in the interest of unity, still let these children find some way to come together across the country? Yes, Nima, let me come to you.
Why not stop playing ostrich? We know that there's insecurity across the country. And because of that, we know we'll be putting people's lives in danger no matter where we post them now. If we take them to River State, they might just meet. And then these are people who are easily identified because they usually will be required within the first 3 weeks to be in their uniform anywhere they travel. So why not protect them and say, okay, for the period till we get out of this, we are going to be giving our graduates discharge letters across, the areas, except those who are willing to, serve in a company where we can assess them. If we cannot assess them wherever they live and guarantee their safety, let's give them discharge letter. If since discharge letter is what is required everywhere.
Let me take this
or
call
even
from
scrap this thing.
Josephine, are you there? Hello, Josephine.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, ladies.
Morning. It's greeting.
Yeah, thank you for this topic. It's so timely for me because I have 2 children that are in final year now, and I've been praying earnestly for something to change between now and when it is time for them to for youth service. And the reason is very simple. We, like you said, previously we were afraid of being sent up north, but now we're in Nigeria is safe. Like one of the, I think the former caller, the last caller said, would the DG or any of the people in government would really allow their child to be sent to any of these locations for youth service? And what is the essence? What can you compare to life? We have heard a number of times that they kill youth corpers in some of these troubled areas. What came out of them? Have we seen anybody being prosecuted for that crime? You just control the family and life moves on. These are children that their parents have invested so much into, and you are looking forward to them being in the society and being on their own. And they don't just get killed because you believe that it's important to go for national youth service. In my candid opinion, that program has outlived its usefulness, and it should be scrapped. If not permanently, till further notice.
Thank you very much, Josephine, for your views. Yes, Dr.
I cannot say that the program has outlived its youthfulness. I think that every parent would worry because of the risk of the level of insecurity in Nigeria. But I think that we don't run away from problems. We don't cut off the head because we have headache. We find ways to solve the problem. And so your question about what's the other option available? I believe that there is a lot of hate and there's a lot of negativity being spewed from young people that is shocking about other regions. It's because they don't have knowledge. And when you know someone, if I know Edo people, I didn't know Muslims until I met Nima. I know a Muslim now. I can't hate them because I know them. When you know the Hausa person, when you know the Easterner, when you know the Niger Delta Bayelsa person, you will no longer feel like, they. It now begins to feel like we are us. So the orientation doesn't need to be a physical exercise. The orientation needs to be a mental thing. And with technology, you can have your 3 weeks orientation where psychologists will design a program that nobody that goes through that program will come back thinking anybody is, anybody has, this person is, they are from this area, they are not like us. You can design a program of pure orientation that will change the mindset of everyone that goes through the NYSC, and they can do it from wherever they are.
Online.
But the lack of ability to be creative is my problem. That why would a person whose job is to do the head of the NYSC be willing to deploy people to any place right now? It shows insensitivity. Why would you do that? There's a lot of tension.
Climb rope, jump wrong, and all of that.
Is that inability to be flexible? Let me come to Ade is calling us from London. Ade, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir. You're live. Go ahead.
My point is this. I blame our legislators. This is their job. One of them should have moved a motion to pass a temporary law to stop the NYSC from posting all these young kids to all these dangerous places. I got a call yesterday from Nigeria. Someone was posted to Castina. The lady fainted. She doesn't know how. The parents believe that maybe on her way, anything can happen. There's no life insurance. Nothing works. They kill them, they go and do the $1 million compensation. So it's the job of the legislator to move a motion in the House or in the Senate that they should temporarily now let them serve where their parents are. So nobody will be blamed for it. But nobody is talking. Any of the parents can go to court. I challenge this thing that the situation is not right for everything. And the children will be exposed to dangerous things, and they are on their own. Look at Kaduna. All of the family are crying every day, looking for money to pay. This doesn't make sense. Our country should work well. So I blame the legislator. This is what they are paid for, not for them to go there and be sleeping. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much. So you see, it's a lot of, when you hear people talk about technology just solves problems, makes things easier. So the truth is, we understand we need that unity. But I guess what we're saying this morning is the DG of NYSC should think of creative ways of solving the same problem in different ways. So that physical movement is what we're saying is, it might not be right now, at this time. But the truth is, there are communities that need these people.
Yes.
You know, because I know how effective NYSC postings can be in certain communities.
Yeah.
There's a primary school child whose life would change just by knowing that somebody was posted to her community to teach her. So let us not just say about safety of our children. It's important. But let us juxtapose it with the solution these children are providing in these communities.
Okay, so first of all, are we willing to sacrifice any NYSC child because they want to provide a service to a community? Right now, we need to work with what we have. There's an adage in my place that says, "Mberede kaji amadike." That means in the heat of problems, that's when your innovation, your creativity comes out. We demand more from our leaders to be able to think on their feet. So you see that a problem has come up. What is the best solution that I can proffer that will be okay, that will make things work out? We will not lose anything, we will not lack anything, but then we're able to safeguard the lives and properties of our citizens. If we have leaders that start thinking that way, this is just a little thing, it can be solved, and we'll still have our orientation for NYSC.
I would love to take a few calls before we wrap up on this. Go ahead,
NYSC has outlived its usefulness. We cannot be attempting to promote unity through NYSC, and we are still struggling to unite the nation in appointments and in our civil service. And if we are truly interested in the unity, expunge ethno-religious parameters from our forms. Yes, and just a servant says, NYSC, now your suffering continues. That's what the government has made of it. Have you ever seen any politician's child in camp? They're all abroad. So make a topic from now till thy kingdom come. NYSC is yet to be served and serviced.
Ogumola says, NYSC is crap that should be scrapped. The purpose has been defeated for a long time now. Putting the lives of people's children at risk, bad roads and insecurities, insensitivity of the highest order. Serving your fatherland shouldn't be dangerous. Can they put their children through the same?
This one is saddening. No?
First, Pastor Kimbo Yewa says, NYSC should not be suspended. We depend on our youth to build our nation and bring social reforms to our country. NYSC is one way of achieving that. He said, my stepson just finished serving in one Sokoto village. However, youth should only be posted to safe states.
This one said, Mark Dove says, NYSC shouldn't be put on hold. I graduated since 2019. Okay, 2020 was a waste, so this is 2021. I haven't been able to get a professional job because I don't have NYSC certificate. Now other sets have graduated and we're in the same shoe. We're piling up. Government should send us to safe states. Okujude says, my friend's cousin from Abia State was kidnapped and his body later found on his way to NYSC camp in Adamawa. To me, life is the main aim of establishing the NYSC in the first place. Everyone should be allowed to serve in the region, in this region for now.
All right, that's all we can take on this segment. And as the show is your view, so we express our views, we own our phone lines for people to also call in. Hopefully we can get the DJ of NYSC to share his own thoughts on this and give us a review on this that we've shared today. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So recently, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, threatened to commence deduction of taxes directly from the bank account of defaulters. According to reports, the warning became necessary following rising cases of willful and illegal withholding of taxes by corporations, ministries, departments, agencies, that's the MDAs, and other agents of collection. Now, join us on the show to discuss is the Chief Tax Collector of the Federation, the Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mohammed Nami. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. So I found this very interesting when we read that the willful withholding of taxes. I know the illegal, yeah, but are there people willfully withholding taxes, not paying? And how do you define willful? And how do you get them to begin to pay taxes?
Thank you very much. That is the extent of the publications we did recently. We observe that we have appointed, or the federal government through Federal Inland Revenue Service has appointed taxpayers as agents, companies, the ministry, department, and agencies of government as agents of collection. And the moment the law requires that the moment you collect these taxes or you deduct these taxes at source from payments you made to contractees or by contractees to contractor, you deduct certain taxes and then you remit them to the coffers of the government, which is either federation, which is the federation account. But the the practice has been, instead of these taxes remitted as they were taken or deducted, they're kept by either the ministry, department, agencies of the same government that we work for, or by the taxpayers who are companies limited by shares, PLCs, and they continue to trade with it, and until you go after them, they don't remit them to the federation account. So that's what meant by willful default.
Right. Right.
Chairman Mohammed, so I know that you announced some time ago that Nigeria lost about $178 billion to tax evasion by multinationals. And I think, you know, making this publication that you now have to start deducting from source, for me, I think it's a step in the right direction. But I am worried. How does the Constitution back it? I hope we're not, having any human rights, company rights laws against it according to our Constitution.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. If you look at the publication very well, we first of all drew the attention of the taxpaying public to Section 78, Section 79, Section 80, Section 81, and Section 82 of the Companies Income Tax Act, that is CITA, Cap C21, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, LFN 2004, as amended. And we also drew the taxpaying public attention to Section 13 of the Value-Added Tax Act, as amended in 2004, which impose obligations on MDS as agent of collection to deduct or withhold taxes on payments made and remit the taxes so deducted or withheld to the Federal Inland Revenue Service. So that is the foundation of whatever we are doing today. And for clarity, if we look at the provisions of the law that we have based on this, the Section 78 suggests that for any interest payment that a company or body corporate is doing, except the interest that is on interbank deposit or royalty, you are expected to deduct 10% as withholding tax from that payment you are doing. Payments are deducted based on this law, but they are kept by the taxpayer or the agent of the government that operate business in Nigeria. Section 79 also, which is deduction of tax on rent. Whenever a rent becomes payable, the company or entity paying such rent is expected to pay or to deduct and remit withholding tax at the same 10%. Such deductions are made based on this law and kept or not remitted to Federal Inland Revenue Service. We also have Section 80, which is a directive to companies paying dividend to deduct withholding tax at 10%. But those deductions are equally done and kept by the people that deduct, the companies that deduct without remitting same to the federation account. So from what I've said, I think there is a basis for this deduction in the first place, but there is a willful intention or the refusal of this government appointed agents not to remit this to the federation account. So these are the monies we are going to go after. We are not going to say you have 10 million in your bank account, let's take it arbitrarily. No, we are going to follow this process. Right. What is Section 78 tell you? What is the provision of Section 79 and Section 80? Then when you come to value-added tax, what responsibility that has been spelled out in the Value-Added Tax Act, particularly Section 13 of the Act. So when you deduct taxes and you don't remit based on the provisions of law, that is when we are going to go after you.
All right, go ahead.
So I find it funny, sir, because you mentioned now earlier that MDAs also hold taxes and they deduct but they don't remit. I find it funny when I hear this, considering that these are agencies of government, they are government also, and then there's supposed to be this synergy that the TSA should have brought between you and them, and the books should be easily accessed by you.
And that is the main reason why we did the publication. It is not a possibility that it is actually impossible for you to expect, as an agency of government, to expect the appointed agents, that is the owners of businesses, that is companies limited by shares, to remit these taxes while it is you as the managers of ministry, department, agencies, you are finding it difficult to remit same. So that is what we have done. These monies we are collecting is meant for the 3 tiers of government, be it the local government, state, or at the federal level. So it is actually funny for us to have observed that the ministry, department, agencies of government that we collect these monies for, or the state government that will collect this money for, when they give out contract, they usually keep this money after they have deducted it from the contractor's payment and refuse to remit same. So we feel instead of applying the position of law only on the limited liability or companies doing business in Nigeria, we should also make them behave responsibly by deducting these taxes as at one due and also remitting them timely. It is when you do that that they are able to implement their budget, they are able to provide for social the infrastructures required by our citizens.
All right, let me go on a quick break because what you're saying now sounds like a government defrauding itself. But let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guest in the studio. Toko had a question. Go ahead, please.
Yes. So I wanted to ask, South Africa has over 50% of its tax remittance done online using technology. But it seems like we have a disjointed approach towards the use of technology in tax processing. The Nigerian Economic Summit Group shows that only 1% of taxpayers are registered with the FIRS online platform. Their self-assessment process. So what are you doing to encourage the use of technology, which I think we have by many of our citizens?
Okay, thank you very much. It's quite a good observation, but I think that was before we came on board in 2019. And even before 2019 December that we were appointed, FIRS has invested a lot in technology, but one thing is for you to invest and another thing is for you to get the buy-in of the tax-paying public to making sure that they use the appropriate tools that you are provided by way of technology for tax administration. So what we have done, what we have done now is to get the Finance Act 2020 to have a provision in it, which has now given us, as a service, the power to use technology for purpose of tax administration. So what we mean by that is that going forward, we are going to deploy technology in whatever we do for purpose of filing of returns, for purpose of payment of tax liabilities, for purpose of assessment, collection, and also for accounting for taxes that we're collecting. So what have we done practically to ensure that this happens? We have rolled out our own in-house technology, which everybody knows about, Tax Pro Max, and which is going forward going to be used for purpose of this tax administration. Because one of the requirements of the law also is that we should not just deploy technology, we should deploy proprietary technology, which is the technology that we own ourselves. And that is exactly what we have done. The second step, the third step we have equally taken now is to segment compliance with this provision of the Finance Act 2020. So what we have done is to say we have three segments of taxpayers: the large, the medium, and the small and micro taxpayers. So what we have done for this year, we have insisted that all the companies that belongs to, or ministry department agents that belong to large taxpayer segment should, going forward, file its return, make its own tax payment, apply for its own TCC online, real-time, without further giving us paper returns. Right. So we've started that. And we're moving, secondly, to the issue of to the segment that we call medium tax. So these two segments, we are confident that by the end of this year, and they are the major taxpayers, because these two segments are the people that pay up to 85% of the taxes, that their tax filing, their tax payment, request for tax clearance, answer to reply to queries they will receive online from us, and probably even audit will be done online using our own in-house technology, Tax Pro Max.
Let me ask you this question, because I know that Nigeria has one of the lowest tax revenue profile in the world, and I know our budget is dependent a lot on tax remittances. I know we had initially, I think it was the second revenue expectation from the federal government from our budget, and I'm just worried because how realistic is it? We have it in paper that we expect to get a certain amount of money from taxes. But how are you meeting your target? And because remember, the revenue from this is supposed to feed our budget. How realistic are we meeting this target?
Thank you very much, my sister. Not just the target. If the taxpayers are truthful, honest, and will deduct these taxes and remit as at when due, or compute or file tax return by way of self-assessment and make their own tax payment in good time, will even generate more than the government require, the 13 trillion it requires for purpose of it required to implement its budget for 2021. All over the world, tax is #1 source of revenue for every government, all over the world, except Nigeria. And the reason you know better than I do is that we were born into oil money. We all came to Nigeria through our parents and meet oil money that suggests that nobody should work, nobody should pay taxes. Unfortunately, with the COVID-19, we've now realized, with the negative impact of COVID-19, we've now realized that this concept that we are very rich a country is not true. One thing is for you to have potential, and another thing is for you to be very rich. So we are not rich, because if we are rich, by the time we had this COVID-19, the government would have been able to roll out a lot of palliative to the taxpayers or the ordinary citizen, just like the developed countries are doing. So the #1 source of revenue for every country on earth has been taxation. So how do they achieve it? One of the key ways to achieve this is the economic activities and the population of a country. So what those countries did is that, or have been doing, is that they have shifted base from direct taxes to indirect taxes. Indirect taxes are taxes that you as an agent of collection is asked, you are asked to collect on behalf of government, e.g. value-added tax. When you walk into a supermarket, you want a bottle of water. By the time you give out your card, that and some other exemptions, by the time you give out your card, making payment for this, the things you have taken from the shelf in the supermarket, what you are paying is not just the price of the good alone. What you are equally paying is the price, is the value-added tax that supermarket has been appointed to collect on behalf of the government. But the issue has been, when they collect, they don't remit, and that is why we have rolled out this publication.
Okay.
And the moment we're able to do that, being the first economy in Africa, we should be able to have enough money to implement our budget at all levels.
All right.
Chairman Mohammed, so I know generally it's expected that these sort of sanctions would stimulate voluntary compliance. But I want to ask you, do you think this will work, considering the fact that government as well is a major debtor?
Can you come again?
I said the reason for this sort of sanctions is to stimulate voluntary compliance from different companies. So you are giving out the sanctions so that they will want to pay and not go through the stress of having to pay extra or be fined. But how do you think this will work, knowing that the government themselves and not the ministries, departments, and agencies are also a part of this problem?
See, tax collection, tax administration, tax payment globally is a very difficult thing to do. You will discover that in so many countries in the world, tax men, just like we have in our own establishment act, move with gun to collect taxes, even in the developed economies, even the most popular economies that we visit. Until they use gun, people don't voluntarily come to pay taxes. But now that we are trying to emulate what they are doing in their country to be successful by making sure that we sanction those that do not pay their taxes as I want you, I think the compliance level will go up. Bear in mind, my sister, that you, just like the example I have given, you have walked into a supermarket, just like the student in the Unilag or a student in Ahmadu Bello University who have walked into a supermarket. He has bought goods. And then the agent, which is the owner of the supermarket, has taken value-added tax from this poor shopper. But unfortunately, he or she refuses to remit it to the coffers of government. I think for fairness, because one of the principles of taxation is fairness, we should be able to say no to such a practice so that we insist that the moment you collect this money from this poor man, you are already a rich man. And that is why you are able to come up with a company which government equally use in appointing you as an agent of collection. Let me give you another scenario. You own a house and I am the tenant. Then maybe my sister next to you is the agent. Is it fair for her to collect rent from me? And equally, in that rent, there is maybe 5%, which should ordinarily be her own agency fee. And after collecting this money from me, being an appointed agent by you, your agent keep both the agency fee and the rent itself to himself. Is it possible for you to sit down and allow your agent to continue to do that to you? I think it is not proper. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, let me take this call, sir. Good morning, Folu. Are you still there? You've been holding for a while. I'm so sorry, Folu, for keeping you. Let me go on a quick break. When you come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we still have our guest with us. Tope had a question for the break. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask concerning the amount of money that falls within the cracks of corruption within the system. And another gap is contractual revenue collection people who negotiate for themselves as well as the government. I've heard stories that agents are used by contracts divided into location, and they go around to try to collect the tax from businesses, but they offer negotiations within their reach. And a lot of funds are lost through those taxes. People pay, but it does not really go to the government. So what is the FIRS doing to tighten the gap so that the revenue that comes to the government increases?
Okay, thank you very much. I think for every situation you find yourself, it's just like a law of contract. There is always a situation of an offer and probably an issue of acceptance. Yes. I want to blame the two parties there to have committed fraud and to also have short-changed Nigerians. You as a business owner, if you are faithful, before the tax administration will come to look at your book, you would have done the needful. And when he comes in, he will never be able to see any tax liability, because when they get to look at your book, you have a turnover of 10 million. Value-added tax is 750,000. You have declared that in the course of your monthly returns to FIRS. There will never be any basis for any negotiation. So the first thing is the business owner that have offered this money, and it's a crime also for the FIRS staff to accept the offer that has been given. We have started at our own level, and they are also aware that it is no longer business as usual. And that is what may helped us in the year 2020, that even when practically the economy was locked down for about 4 or 5 months, we still got about 98% of our target. It is a fact that there are corrupt practices all over places, whether it's revenue authorities that has to do with the local government, and those local revenue authorities that have to do with the state, or the one that I currently manage, the federal revenue. But the key issue is that there is always an intention to cheat on the tax of the taxpayer, and that is what lay a good foundation or lays a basis for what you have described corrupt practice in the course of this. But I want Nigerians to also know that for every tax payment, it is not there in the law anymore. And there is, since the year 2007 Establishment Act of FIRS, payment of taxes are never done by cash. The payment of taxes are never done by check. Payments are done by the taxpayer themselves in the bank or through the mediums provided using digital means now. Right. So if there is money to be paid and it doesn't get to the coffers of government, you don't blame FIRS staff for that, because it is not expected of you in the first place to give money to anybody other than your own staff to go to the bank to remit some to the Federation account.
Let me take this call from Hassan. You can hold him for a while. Hassan, are you there?
Yeah, good morning,
everybody. Good morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, the Director General of Federal Inland Revenue. Please, I have a question here. This issue of non-deduction or non-remittance by concerned agencies of government is not only limited to government. Even the private sectors are culpable. The banks, we are shareholders. They deducted taxes from our dividends before giving us the remaining change. It is your own responsibility and your members of staff, because I'm seeing it as a failure of human resources on your own side for your people to go there and take their money that does not belong to them from them for the use of the federal government of Nigeria. Because if the money is remitted, we have no reason whatsoever to take loan. We have no reason whatsoever for anybody to bypass TFA. Private sectors are culpable. The MDAs are culpable here. And even the Nigerians also are culpable.
Right.
And your staff are culpable also, because some of your staff are also in the habit of frustrating taxpayers. And what are you doing, Mr. Rani, about?
Right. Yes, there are quite a lot of questions. I'd like you to.
I wanted to know. So there's a tweet saying that this is a bit too far, that the attempt by the FIRS to go into accounts and deduct unlimited taxes is a little bit too far. That, withholding or remitting taxes in the first place is a crime. Why not just prosecute defaulters? Why go into their account to take the money?
Okay, thank you very much, my sister and the person that called. I appreciate his comment very well. And it is on realization of the guilt by everybody that we've decided to ensure that now we're going to prosecute taxpayers or tax offenses. Let me not even put it that way. What we have done is that we have declared our intention publicly to prosecute taxpayers for non-compliance with tax law, regulation and other related tax offenses, especially those that are listed in Part 4 of the FRS Establishment Act 2007 as amended. These offenses include but are not limited to tax evasion, tax fraud, failure to deduct or remit tax, obstruction, false declaration, counterfeiting of document, failure to file tax returns, etc. The person that called, unfortunately, I don't have his name. We are all guilty of everything we have said, but this is not limited to, just like you rightly said, to FIRS staff. The intention from the onset is from the agent of collections. The intention is to cheat, because, like I said before, the indirect taxes, that is the emphasis of National Tax Policy Document of 2017. So it's an easy thing to do. You are appointed as an agent, collect this money on behalf of government, remit. The moment that remittance is done by either an agency of government, by a body corporate, like the place you have invested in shares, there will not be need for, there will not be room for these sharp practices by both taxpayers, the government, ministry, department, agencies, and the tax administrator. So the appeal, and that is the narrative we want to change. And that is what we want to do now by invoking the provision of Section 49, subsections 2 of our Establishment Act, and prosecute all relevant persons involved in the management of the affairs of non-compliant company, firm or association. We're not going to leave it at just deducting money from your own account. Even if you are a director in this company, you are a DG in this ministry, department, and agencies, we are not playing here. We'll go ahead to even name and shame you and possibly report you to regulatory agencies or enforcement agencies like Economic and Finance, EFCC, ICPC, and the Nigerian police. We all have executed MOU with these people. It is not going to be business as usual. Yeah. Like I said before, we cannot be the first economy in Africa, yet have not been able to generate, even with huge potential, even with a huge transaction base, even with the quality and size of our population, generate enough revenue to fund our budgetary requirements.
Mr. Chairman, you know, this is really painful for someone like me to hear, because we were still talking recently that this country would only develop if the elites decide to really develop this country. Because the truth is that the foot soldiers, the regular citizens, will pay taxes somehow or the other. Either you move from our salaries, or from like you said, the indirect, when you go to the supermarket, you want to buy groceries, and they take it out. So whether we like it or not, we, the foot soldiers, will pay the taxes. But it's the next layer that I'm hearing the problem.
That is the point we are making.
So it's the next layer.
As consumers of this product that are sold in the supermarket, of the services that the telecommunications, the communication companies render, you have no control over the charge that the telecommunication company charge you when you make call to me. But the bottom line, for every 1 minute call you do, for this conversation we're doing via Zoom, myself, you people are paying for these services. Chairman,
I get that,
and there's VAT element, there are tax elements in these bills you pay.
Yeah.
The challenge has been, why are they keeping this money without
remitting to the
and
government?
government continue to move from pillar to post to borrow money to fund the budgetary requirement? We talk about insecurity. We talk about lack of road. We talk about lack of right. How would government do it when the money that belongs to government is in your hands?
So,
this is the challenge.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for clarifying, because I want Nigerians to understand what we're saying. Because sometimes when we say these things, it flies over their heads. So we, the people, are paying those taxes. Is that second layer, remittance to the MDAs, from the MDAs to the federal coffers? That's the issue. And these people are pocketing this money for different things. And it's important that this kind of show makes Nigerians understand the importance, the gravity of what we're doing. We're defaulting ourselves as a people. So we, the people, are paying, but that second layer is not remitting, and that's a problem. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's important that we get that clarity. I'll let you go for now, but I'd like to open our phone lines and tweets and just let Nigerians call in, because it's important we see our role in this issue of decadence. We're talking about infrastructure. We're talking about we need money. Our entire budget is dependent on this revenue. So we're here waiting for oil money. Oil money is dwindling. The second layer is supposed to be...
It's gone.
This tax.
It's gone. It's not.
And we can't get these taxes. We can't get these taxes if people are not remitting.
Yes.
So that's a problem. You're pocketing our money.
The agencies are not remitting.
So it goes beyond just the MDAs. The MDAs are doing their part. I noticed that it kept going back to supermarkets. So there are many private companies who deduct value-added taxes. A lot of businesses do it. I'm in the real estate industry. I am working with a company. The company wants to pay me, deducts the VAT, but are they remitting?
Withholding tax.
Yes. They withdraw a withholding tax, but they don't pay to the government. So I am made to pay that amount of money. And there are many of them. Contracts are awarded by private companies, and they want to pay you for your contract. They would withhold the tax, but they're not remitting. So it trickles all around the government, and we are doing ourselves. And I think that's the point Mariah is trying to make, which the chairman also made, is it's affecting us. Yeah. That is why a lot of budget, we spoke to the minister, whenever we have a conversation with Minister Fashola, he would mention the fact that the budget, they could not fund these roads. The budget, it's there, there's allocation, but there is no money to be disbursed for those roads. So we might complain about some things, but the government really can't afford it. We are not that rich. Actually, we are not rich. So we need to...
We have the potentials, but the money is not in the hand of government.
So.
Thank you very much for this clarity. I have to roll, but thank you very much, sir, for joining us. We appreciate your thoughts this morning. Thank you very much. Do you have any tweets, Nima?
Idowu says, even those way they collect from us, kill efficient, that's they've not been using, executing...
Nima, I'd like to address that, because you see, that's the Nigerian street conversation that we have, and nothing gets done. The ones you've collected, what have you done with it? Yes, there's that narrative, no doubt about it. It's a narrative that exists, and nobody's going to argue that. But the truth is, there's nowhere in the world that gets developed without taxes. So with that, we face the reality that we need to pay taxes and develop, or we keep that narrative, or the ones they've collected, what have they done with this? And listen, we can do that for the next 20 years. And
our attitude will change when our money is going there. You see, it's a different thing. The confidence of my conversation whenever I'm talking about Lagos State and my expectations of the government is different, because I know I'm paying my taxes to Lagos State. When you are paying your tax, you are more emboldened to demand from how they are spending the money. When you're not paying, it is government money, it is oil money, but it's from your pocket. You paid that tax. Men, you need to hold them more accountable.
Most people are talking, they don't pay taxes.
They are not even captured. But the regular people pay taxes. People like us who are working, they find a way to get away this tax. Even those that are doing business, we filed you are selling rice now, I'm selling something. We found, we filed our tax and everything. We do that. The majority of the regular people pay the tax. The problem is a lot of them are not captured. For those that are not paying are not captured. Now, the ones that they have paid are not being remitted to the government. So the government themselves are part of the problem, because their agencies and their ministries are owing as well. So we need to remit the ones they have paid.
You have to run, Nima, go ahead.
Just to try and make case for most of these people talking, you have your taxes deducted from your company as your payee, your withholding tax and whatever, and your company didn't remit it. Companies constantly deduct this money. So when they are frustrated like this, they think the money has been given to government. And we know the level of corruption within government too is discouraging. But this tweet is a better Maja says, let the FIRS look inwards. A lot of fraud and corruption within the system. Officers of FIRS collect bribe and make companies pay less to government while the companies settle their
we have to run, unfortunately, but I think these things are in various layers, right? Yes. So there's the MDAs, there's the private corporations. Let them remit first. After they remit, hopefully then we can now start looking for the other loopholes and covering those gaps. But the key ones are the MDAs, the private companies. Please remit to the
your
government
taxes, or they will collect it from your. That's what they have said.
All right, that's what we can take on the show. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.